This is the Stock Day Podcast, sponsored by InvestorsHangout.com. Subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube to stay up to date on penny stock news and interviews. Public information on OTC, pink sheets, and microcap stocks from around the world. Here's your host, Everett Jolly.
Before we get started with the show today, I'd like to thank one of our new sponsors, the OTCexchange.com. It's the first aggregated news service site. It provides you with all the info you need to make informed decisions on penny stocks. That's the OTCexchange.com. On today's show, I'm bringing back a returning guest. Last time he was on the show was back in March of this year. I'm talking about Dark Pulse Inc. And you better loosen up because last time he was on the show, the stock was at 1 cent. Now it's at 2 cents. That's right. Could have made 100% on your money and probably anywhere from 40 to 90 days. And this is just the start because these guys are getting ready to rev up and make some big splashes in their industry. You can find them on the OTC markets under the ticker symbol DPLS. And with us today is the chairman, founder, and CEO of the company, Mr. Dennis O'Leary. Dennis, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Everett. It's very, very happy to be back.
You know, congratulations. I was just telling listeners that last time you were on the show, your stock was at 1 cent. Now it's at 2 cents. And you just recently announced a successful bridge funding for $825,000. Bring us up to speed on that.
Yeah, so that was sort of plans in the making, finding the bridge funding to bring us through to a couple of things. I mentioned closing off a couple of those old convertible notes, which we are doing successfully. Then also really getting us in position to the next sort of capital tranche as we head towards revenues.
So you took some of that money and you slated it for some old notes. You got rid of some toxic financing. And how's that process going?
Actually, very well. We closed off a number of the notes. We hope to be able to provide an update shortly on that. But the bulk of it again, trying to get rid of the old, look for better types of funding vehicles, and actually to that end, we're aligning ourselves to get ready to file for an S3, which will bring us considerable capital opportunities. And real market capital type of things, not these convertible toxic notes anymore.
So before we get started on the Q&A today, if you would, because we've got a lot of new listeners, they keep coming on every week, and I'm very fortunate that's happening. Give us what your flagship product is all about. The BOTDA, it's a sensor technology. Tell my listeners just a little bit about your flagship product and what makes you guys so special.
Yeah, certainly. So BOTDA, again, it's been around. The technology itself has been around for about 100 years, and currently there's a lot of systems that are based on bright pulsing technologies. Ours is based on a dark pulsing technology, and really the difference comes down to resolution. The current systems, they're more built for sort of like quasi-static types of deployments, like long-term bridge monitoring. Let's say, for instance, they lack the resolutions that we have, and the difference just apply to an oil pipeline I had mentioned earlier. Current systems can tell you when there is a leak. They can generally get you within maybe a football field or two where the leak is located. Us, we can tell you what's going on inside the pipe before there's a leak. And let's say for whatever reason an operator decides they just want leak detection, we can bring them down into less than a square meter, which is phenomenal. And then couple that with the partnerships that I guess we'll talk about. But I mean, we could get eyes on site within minutes. If there's a video camera available, we have AI now capabilities. We really can drill down and tell you exactly what's going on in real time, second by second, with the graphic interface anywhere on any device. And that's just not out there yet.
Last time you were on the show, I was telling you that our company is located in Phoenix, Arizona. You said you guys are going to set up shop, I think, outside of Tempe, Arizona, something like that. That being said, where are we at regarding the manufacturing of your system right now?
Yeah, so actually sort of another big piece of the puzzle fell into place. We've been speaking with a very large electronics manufacturer in the United States for about a year, really just kind of got them on board. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to have the bulk of the manufacturing done by this large manufacturing company And then the facility that we have in Tempe, the plan is, of course, we were going to do R&D out of there anyway. We're going to move staff into there too. And we will do some assembly there, but initially, we anticipate in terms of the volume, and it just makes sense to have a company that's sort of in that space, and expertise is there. So we're going to go with, again, with this major manufacturer. They'll be starting to build the units, and we can kind of tinker, and build things on the fly, so to speak, at the facility in Tempe.
I have a lot of friends that come on the show, and, outside of the radio show, we talk shop and stuff like that. And I tell them, I said, it's all about pressing palms, making deals. Here it is, the last time you were on the show, you come up with 3 deals. You partner with Bachner Group, you partner with Remote Intelligence, you partner with Unleash Live. If you would, pick the ones you want to talk about. What made you get in bed with any of these companies, and what's going to be the outcome, say, in the next 2 or 3 quarters from these transactions?
Yeah, so really the way that I want to run the company is more like a SaaS model. When you sell hardware, you're only as good as your last sales. So going forward, we just feel like, being able to sell these services, like including monitoring, a private network, we're capable to do now as well. Especially, the most recent thing we learned about was, the hacking incident, the Colonial Pipeline.
Right.
So, yeah. So with us, we're running fiber down the right of way anyway. We can turn on a couple of pairs of fibers to create a network. And, the whole idea is if you're not on the internet, you obviously cannot get hacked. So these partnerships, they each bring sort of a piece of the puzzle again in terms of service offerings. Unleash Live gives us a graphic interface anywhere on any device in the world in real time, second by second real time, no delays. Remote Intelligence gives us eye in the sky, we'll call it, and we can get a drone anywhere in any location within minutes. So again, it's bolstering the company's, plans or mission where, not just a hardware company, but like a software as a service. Again, for the obvious reason, you have steady growth in terms of revenue, month to month as you add subscribers, which is important. It just seems like, it's best to have a service and a hardware offering. And, these guys they're at the top of their game, and that's why we signed with them.
I want to switch gears here for a second. I also, when we talk shop with a lot of the CEOs and we're all just kind of sitting around, I tell them it's all about building a team, bringing on new people that can make an impact. I understand you're bringing on some new people. If you would, bring us up to speed, who they are, and when will they start?
Yeah, so the most recent one, we mentioned Ken Davidson, who's got, just more than 30 years in oil and gas. But we're going to actually, it'll be public by the time this airs. We actually brought on Dr. Joseph Catalino. He was a board advisor for a number of years, just retired out of the Pentagon, did some work over at the White House, just has a federal contracting background, that's a stellar background. And so we just recently added him to the team. He's going to be a full-time employee and operate as chief strategy officer for the company. And he and I are going to work hand in hand, really just to bring the company forward. Again, from this R&D focus, we're now sales focused, and Joe Catalino is going to be a huge part of that. So we're looking forward to working with him.
Well, let's talk about that. Right now you guys are pre-revenues right now, trading at 2 cents. What's the focus on revenues? When do you see revenues actually coming on board?
So again, back to the shareholder letter, I feel like, again, as early as Q3, I think it looks towards the end of Q3, Q4, we should see some considerable contracts coming in. We do have demonstrations lined up. I mentioned a demonstration facility. It's not so much a building. It's a demonstration location. We're going to do that with another partner that we should be announcing at some point. But basically, we have an installation partner that we've been talking with. They're going to perform the demonstrations for us. And we anticipate soon after the demonstration that we'll be seeing some contracts. So I'll say late Q3, definitely by Q4, and then continuing into early next year.
You know, as we mentioned earlier, a bridge loan is $825,000, which is peanuts. When do we get the real update and the process of the company next phase funding, and which you're probably going to need millions to get to where it is you want to go? Where are we at in that process?
Yeah, so we've been speaking with a couple of different legal providers. Again, we feel like the path forward would be through by way of an S3 filing. Brings in institutional money, and we're getting away from these convertible variable types of discounted notes.
Right.
Yep. And we've had some really good conversations, and we're pretty confident that once we get the S3 in place, that we will see that sort of considerable funding, which just bring us straight through to revenue.
My guest today is Dennis O'Leary. He's the chairman, founder, and CEO of Dark Pulse Inc. You can find him on the OTC markets under the ticker symbol DPLS. Take a look at him if you want to get on a ground floor of a great technology company. Dennis, before I let you go, you got the last word. We've got about 20 seconds. What is it that you want my listeners and your stockholders to take away from today's interview?
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious with the recent press releases. We're definitely making some forward strides. I'm working, 7 days a week to keep us on track. The pieces of the puzzle of dropping into place, again, kind of evidence of what we've accomplished so far. We're continuing to find key people. We're going to build a team. We're making the run to revenues. I'm not going to let anything get in my way. So, I think people understand that about me now. I'm full speed ahead.
Dennis, thank you so much for coming on the show. I think you're doing a great job out there. Like I said, you reached out to 3 companies in the last 90 days, brought them on board, and you're making things happen over there. And I'm looking forward for you coming back on the show here in the next 50 days to give us an update.
Yeah, I would definitely look forward to coming back and continuing our conversations, and I appreciate you having me on.
This program is entirely sponsored and produced by La Jolla Media LLC, which is responsible for the content. The opinions and information provided on this program are for educational and research purposes. Stock Day encourages all listeners of this program to do their due diligence and research when determining investment strategies that will work for them, or to seek the assistance of an investment professional.